Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be giving you guys some more automatic writing prompts and exercises that you can use for your psychic ability, for connecting with loved ones, for creative writing, and even for playing with another person. So if you're new to my channel, welcome back. My name is Lauren. I'm a psychic, a medium, and an intuitive coach. On my channel, I like to teach you guys how to tune into your psychic abilities, how to strengthen them, and basically how to do everything that I do. And now, even though I'm going to be using these prompts today as a way to connect with spirit guides, connect with loved ones, basically doing any of that kind of work, you guys can still use this as a free writing, creative writing tool, even if you're not going to use it for your psychic ability. So if you haven't watched my first video on automatic writing, watch that now because I actually go through the process of how to do it. This video is basically a follow-up of going over prompts because I didn't do the best job of giving you guys prompts in that first video. So check out the chapters of this video. Some things to keep in mind before you get started. Remember, don't look at what you're writing. Don't go back, don't scratch things out, don't analyze it. Stick with what you have and just keep going. Don't lift your pen off the paper. Don't stress out too much if it's not coming from the source you want it to come from. If you're just literally writing things out that you're thinking about, that's definitely not intuitive. It's okay. Sometimes you have to write that just to get started. Also, one thing I forgot to mention, doodling and drawing all over your paper is totally part of automatic writing. So even though I stick to straight lines, that's just what works for me. If you find it easier to write all over your page, go for it. Also remember that you are making sure to connect to things of your highest and best good. From here on out, I'm assuming that the majority of you guys are doing this for psychic related information. And so it's so important that you do this safely and you're not connecting to somebody who's going to give you bad advice. If you are doing this for the psychic ability, which I'm going to assume from here on out you are, remember that asking questions is hugely important. You're basically setting the outline for the answers that you're going to get. For example, should I or shouldn't I is basically a yes or no question. And you want to steer away from yes or no questions because you really only are giving yourself two answers, yes or no. You want to make sure that your questions are open-ended. And one of the ways you can do this if you're struggling to figure out the prompt itself is first just write out the question. What do I need to know about this new job? Now that's kind of a lot to rewrite in a prompt. So what you want to do is change this into a sentence. So this new job is ... That's basically how you write out a prompt. Now, if you do find that it's easier to stick with the question and just rewrite the question over and over again, have at it. But I found that when I kind of lose that focus, it's very helpful for me to come back to this new job is, this new job is, this new job is. Another thing you have to remember about asking questions is to keep a good motivation behind them. So if you are asking the same thing over and over and over and over again because you're so caught up in it and you want to know the answers, at some point, you're just getting your own bias mixed in and it's just confusing and you're not really connecting to that intuitive source. Also, if you are trying to connect so that you can hurt someone or harm someone, even emotionally, if you're writing out a question, how can I get back at my ex? That's the wrong intention that we want to set here. So make sure that you're doing it with a good intention behind it. So I'm going to give you guys a lot of prompts, but I'm sort of condensing them into general themes. So the first theme is going to be connecting to loved ones on the other side. This is one of the best ways that I like to talk to loved ones in spirit because you can really get yourself out of the way and trust the information that's coming through. I've also found that a lot of people will find similarities in their handwriting to whoever they're talking to, like their handwriting might become similar to grandma's. That is not always the case. That doesn't always happen, but sometimes it does, and it's cool. First prompt that you can try. Grandma wants me to know. And this piece right here can be replaced with anybody. Uncle Joe. This can also be used to connect with pets in spirit. So if you have a dog, Fido wants me to know. Just know that those first couple of lines might be yours. And again, when you get forward into analyzing, that's okay. You're going to know what's you versus what's them. An alternative to this, if you want something even shorter, Grandma says. See how both of those are open-ended. There's a lot that they can fill in. Another one that I like, just playing with the tense, is very interesting in the results that you get. And sorry if you can't read my handwriting. Grandma is ... And what I like about this phrase, you are asking about the present moment. Even though my grandma is in spirit, what is she like now? What is she doing now? Grandma is versus grandma wants me to know is going to yield two very different results. So pretend you have a spirit in your house. You don't know their name, you don't know who they are, and that's like the whole thing you're trying to figure out. What you can do instead is say, this spirit is. And what you can even do before this is if you need to write out a paragraph, just to make sure you are connecting to that spirit, you could say, there is a spirit in my house. I see it when I go to sleep or something like that. I am connecting to this spirit. This spirit is ... Spirit in my house, introduce yourself. So this is a perfect example of you don't need a question. You don't even need a sentence that needs to be filled in. As long as it's very clear what you're looking for and it's still open-ended, it's a great prompt. Those of you that are here for creative writing or getting around writer's block, this is an amazing tool because what it does is it gets you out of that analytical mind. And sometimes when we're writing and we're trying to create things, we just get so stuck in the structure and it's got to hit these points and it's got to do this and this. We get so analytical about it that we forget to use that imaginative, flowing thought process, which is what I like to call our intuition. And again, for you guys, try to remember that it's not about the outcome. It's not about, you're going to have this perfect, well-made story that at the end you're going to be able to put into a book and it's done. The whole point of this is it's structureless. But don't be surprised if there is something in here that is an inkling of a story. I like to think that we co-create with the universe, and a lot of those things that come to us when we're in the zone is actually a lot of intuitive information. Creative writing prompts. One I already gave you guys. On a dark and stormy night. Bah. Another thing you can use is once upon a time. Writers, you guys are creative. You can come up with your own prompts. Just try to think of something that you would use to start a sentence, to establish a scene, to, introduce a character. Two people walk into a coffee shop. A dragon sits on a cliff on an island in the middle of an ocean. Now these are all sort of like story related. Another fun thing you can do is ask for a song. And this is sort of twofold. I'm writing a song about blank. The lyrics go, and let this blank be intuitive. I'm writing a song about cherries. The lyrics go, and then you write it out. Now, if you are a writer and you're new to this and you're not really interested in the psychic ability stuff, I would say stick around, try some of these other prompts, because if you believe in this process, and even if you believe this is your subconscious talking and not necessarily a spiritual helper of any kind, I think some of these prompts would still work for you, like asking how you can get around your writer's block, or my writer's block is here because ... You guys should check out both Carl Jung and Arthur Conan Doyle. They've made books that are completely auto-written. Whether or not they believed that was a psychic source or their subconscious or, a spirit, they had their own theories around that. But if you want to read a piece of work that is made by somebody using automatic writing, definitely check these out. I'm sure you guys have also heard about Conversations with God and A Course in Miracles. Those are basically the same sort of thing. Automatically written. I think there's a series called Seth that is also a woman who communicated with this spirit named Seth, and she wrote all of these pieces around him. Next is sort of like life questions, things that people come to me for as a psychic. So you might have issues with a family member, you might have a question about a job, about how you can make more money, about how you can stop something from happening, you're stuck somewhere, any of those questions that these are great for. First one, what do I need to know about Bob? What do you need to know about a family member, somebody that's in your life? This can also be a pet. Another way you can ask this question is, what does Bob think about me? And you can sometimes rephrase this if it makes it a little simpler to Bob says, or Bob is, Fido is, and that can kind of help you a little bit more with, writing continuously. What do I need to know about blank? That is one of the best questions to use just anywhere, because then you can plug in a situation, you can plug in a person, you can plug in something about yourself. Now understand with situations, sometimes there's things going on that you might not see. So a great prompt is, I am not seeing ... And that could bring up things like, something you don't know about the other person or the situation, or something that is an obstacle that you just hadn't even thought about before. Now, if we want to focus on positive forward movement, a prompt that we can use is, I can improve blank by... And this could be a situation, this could be something in your life that you want to attract more, better finances. How can I improve my finances? How can I improve my relationship? All of those things can be plugged into this prompt. Sometimes it's helpful to know the obstacles that are in your way for a situation. So another prompt you can use is, my biggest obstacle with this situation is... or are, if you want to find out more than just one. Again, thinking about positive, how can I do better? Because at the end of the day, you can't always control what other people do. So asking what you can do to make the situation better is definitely a great prompt. I can be better at blank by, and this could be a situation, I could be better at getting along with my mom by ... This could be a role in your life also. I can be a better worker. I could be a better mother by ... Try to come back and use these prompts when you're not stressed out about something, because these are great for just learning things about yourself and just playing around. Another prompt, I can attract blank by... And so maybe that's money. Maybe that's you want more money, or a new boyfriend or a girlfriend. So anything that you're trying to have more of in your life. This can also be peace. This could just be an idea. I can attract more love or more friendships in my life by ... Another fun thing that I like to see, especially if you don't have a whole lot of problems going on, is just ask what good things are coming your way. So possibilities coming my way are ... Now, if you're trying to weigh two different options, which a lot of people come to me for, what I like to do is split those in two. So let's pretend I'm trying to move and I don't know if I should go to Texas or if I should go to California. So split your page in two, and you can put your question at the top. I'm running out of space, so I'm putting it down here, but I said, what do I need to know about moving to these places? Now, you can sort of jot phrases or notes, but just try to keep them on each respective side. And when you start, you might have to just kind of get your own stuff out of the way, like your own personal analytical bias, like California is more expensive. And so sometimes splitting the page in half, you might doodle on one side. It might be a little bit more helpful. To me, splitting the page in half doesn't quite help. I like to just kind of make one word letters so that if I'm referring back to it later and I don't remember what I was talking about, I have T for Texas and C for California. These questions are the hardest to not analyze. Remember that with these, the things that you are most stressed out about, or the things that you've already thought in detail about, are sometimes harder to put yourself aside. So if you have to write for a little bit longer before you get into that flow, then go for it. Just try not to analyze as you're writing. There will be time to analyze when you're done, I promise. Prompts for exploring your subconscious. This is kind of things that you just haven't thought about, maybe things that you've suppressed, things you've pushed back and not dealt with. So think trauma, think past lives, think things in your life that you've simply forgot about but are still there. So if you want to know more about a past life that you lived, pretty simple. In my past life, I ... Now you can also put past lives if you want to learn about more than one at a time. Now this prompt I absolutely love because it can apply to both past lives or your current life, and it's so open-ended that so many things could come through, and that is, I remember. And what's funny is there might be some things that you do remember and then some things that you don't remember at all. And so that's kind of jumping into your subconscious, and maybe it's not your subconscious. Maybe it's somebody else. Maybe it's an intuitive spiritual helper that's coming in to give you this information about yourself that might be useful now. I could not find a lot of automatic writing prompts, and the ones I did find I did put in here, but most of these I came up with by connecting with my guides and asking, what are some prompts that I can use and give people? And one of them that they gave me was healing past trauma. And I was like, how would people do that? And they said to start by just writing out the trauma. Now, if that's too difficult, you can just kind of write something in your mind that symbolizes this situation. So I'm watching X unfold. Now, the important thing that my guide said was to make sure to say, I'm safely at a distance, or something like, I'm watching it through plexiglass. I am not affected by this anymore. So if you need to feel safe, if you need to write out, exactly where you are in relation to this, like, I am watching this on a TV screen, this happened in the past, do whatever you need to do to sort of make you feel safe. And again, guys, don't do this if it's going to make you uncomfortable or if this is a really bad trauma. Not everyone heals from going back to these moments. This is just something that my guides wanted to share through me. And then you can end it with, I observe. And I heard that word because I want it to be a distant word. I'm watching it. I'm not a part of it. I'm not in it. I'm watching it in the past. Another thing that I sort of got around this was, if you need to actually write out the whole situation, go for it. Instead of saying I'm watching X unfold, write out the whole entire situation and then end it with, I'm safely at a distance. What I observe is ... And I've never done this prompt, but I just feel like it actually is going to help a lot of people out there, heal from something. Maybe you're going to come through this prompt and realize something about the situation that you didn't know, something that you never thought about before. Maybe it's a different angle, or maybe, your guides end up giving you advice. I'm meeting my future self. My future self says, now you can even go into this and start with just, I'm meeting my future self, and just write down what you see. How old is this future self? Where are they at? What do they look like? What do they feel like? And then you can kind of go into this second prompt of, my future self says, blah, blah, blah. You can also change this to my higher self. A lot of people believe in higher selves, and so you can just change it to, I'm meeting my higher self. You could also meet your past self, and you can even specify. You could say, I am meeting my 5-year-old self. Really try not to think about who you were in that point, and try not to think about who you think you're going to be in the future. Really disconnect from it and pretend it's a completely different person. So another prompt I have is, I feel lost when... Another thing you can do is say, I can look after myself today by ... And this is great just for knowing, if something's going to happen in the day, and maybe your guides want to just kind of let you know, like, hey, pay attention to this. The last sort of fun subconscious thing that I think you can use is mantras. So mantras are basically words that you can repeat over and over again. And the theory there is that by repeating and saying a word over and over again, you will actualize it. Your thoughts create your reality. I have a whole video on this. So let's pretend you have a mantra. This could be like an official mantra, or it could just be a word that you're repeating over and over again. So say you want peace. So just write down that mantra, peace, and you can just write peace, 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 peace over and over again, and then start writing the other things that come to your mind. And you might realize that some of the things that come out are things related to this, things that might be in your way of this. Like, this leaves it so open-ended, and that's why I think mantras are such a fun way to use automatic writing. Now, my last prompt for subconscious sort of prompts is no prompt at all. So with this, it's really trying not to put any restrictions on you. I would just do timed writing and just see what comes out. It could be about you, it could be nothing at all, it could be a story, who knows. Sometimes I think going in without a prompt is actually very interesting. So now we're getting into guides in the psychic abilities. Now, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right, but Helene Smith, she was a French psychic who sort of turned automatic writing into a woo-woo thing. So Helene Smith was called like the mother of automatic writing. Obviously, again, if you watch my first video, it's been around for a long time, but she was the one in the spiritualist movement who sort of gave it the medium to be used to communicate with other spirits, other beings. And so she had like all this like Martian handwriting that she had written out. So I only mention it if you're interested and want to read more about her stuff. So a lot of people, when they come to me, they want to know, who are my guides? And you guys, if you have a question, just write down the question first and then figure out the prompt second. My guides are, and see how that leaves it open. It leaves it open to a visual description, a personality description, You can, I mean, it's so open-ended. You can talk about numbers, you can talk about what they're here to help you with. One of the things that I love talking about on my channel is that when you connect with your spiritual helpers to talk about anything, to get questions for yourself or for others, you want to sort of meet them. You don't have to, but it's nice to meet them in a place that's familiar. So a lot of times I say you can make up this place. A lot of people meet their guides on a beach. I meet my guides underground under this like tree. Sometimes I meet them in the sky on top of the clouds. Other times it's a lighthouse. So sometimes having that visual is a great way to jump into the moment so that you can connect to that guide better. You know the place, you can go there, then you can talk to them and ask them any question. So automatic writing is a fun way to sort of figure out what this place looks like and what it does and if there's any secret holes or portals or something like that. So this prompt is, where can I meet my guides? I meet my guides at, and you know, this could be somewhere in your mind or this could be a physical place. I'd be interested to see what you guys get. Sometimes I find that a lot of people connect to their guides in nature or, you know, in the bathtub. So really just be open to whatever they have to say here. My guides want me to know ... I mean, again, the what do I need to know question is so universal. It plugs in everywhere. Now jumping over into your psychic ability. A lot of you here on my channel to understand your psychic ability, to understand what your blocks are. So let's talk about strengths first. So I can use my psychic ability to... I love this one because my guides always like share things. Like they once shared with me, oh, you can use it in your business. And although that seems silly right now that I wouldn't have thought about that, back then I just wasn't thinking about connecting those two at all. I connect strongest when ... And that's helpful because it gives you answers about, you know, what clairs work for you or, you know, something that you could be doing more of that you might not have realized that's really helping you connect to that intuitive ability. Now jumping over into blocks, really easy. My psychic blocks are... You can even go back into, you know, the obstacles in my way to my psychic ability are ... If you're wanting to connect with your guides, but you just don't know what to ask, another thing you can use are tarot cards. And you can just shuffle and ask, what do I need to write about, guides? So let's say I've asked that and I'm going to pull a card. What do I need to write about? Beggar. So you could say, my guides want me to know blank about this card. Now jumping into this next section, I'm calling this just playing. And this is because a lot of times we go to our guides, we go to our spiritual helpers, and we just ask for advice. And we forget to just let them take the lead and play with them. These are basically just questions that, you know, aren't really seeking exact answers or just advice about your life. It's more just like fun things you could learn about yourself or your guides. I am is a fantastic prompt for learning more about yourself. I don't see is also great because you are asking if there's something going on that you're just not aware of right now. I need. This is also great if your guides really want to tell you something that you could use more of. This question actually someone asked in a reading that they did with me, and I was like, that is such a great question. And this is, I can help others by ... This prompt is actually fantastic for a lot of manifestation and visualizing. My ideal day, and I found that this has been fantastic in both learning about yourself and what you want out of life and how you're not there yet and what you're missing. My purpose is, a lot of times people come to me thinking that they only have one purpose in life, and sometimes it is more than one thing. Or maybe you don't really have a purpose in the way that you thought you did. So I absolutely love that prompt as well. Now another statement that you can use, and this sort of fits into any of these, is I'm feeling this. So write out exactly what you're feeling. I'm feeling confused or lost or stressed. And then just keep writing. So you don't even have to ask a question. Just stating how you feel can sometimes turn into advice, turn into an answer, turn into just you venting so that you can move on and heal. So sometimes just identifying an emotion can help you get started. This one's kind of fun. If I ran the world. This could even probably be used as the creative prompt as well. My future holds. And I'm even getting now that they're telling me you can use the creative writing prompts and insert yourself. So I'm hearing this prompt. So, start it out like you would those creative writing stories, and you're in the story this time. So I am a queen in a dark tower. Now you could have these points already made, the queen in the dark tower, or you can ask for that prompt, or you can even pull a tarot card. I am a what in a place. This second part is more of a place so that you can get a setting and you can just have something to start with. And this is like a role or a name. And I'm just gonna pull a tarot card because I'm curious what I would pull. So I am a visionary. I am a visionary in an airport. Or I am a judge. That would be an interesting prompt. Now, if you want to know what cards I'm using, this is the Archetype Cards by Carolyn Miss. I'll also link that in my description down below if you want to buy them. All right, 2 people prompts. Now, I absolutely love this. I did this at the Aspen program. This is basically just writing, co-automatic writing with somebody else at the same time. Now, the thing about 2-person prompts is basically you just want to see the similarities. You could be reading into the same thing. You want to see if somebody picks up something that's helpful to you, or maybe you guys both pick up on something and you validate each other on a piece of information. This is also a great way to practice reading for others. So if you're not quite comfortable getting in front of somebody and just going for it, automatic writing can be a kind of like a baby step into reading for somebody else. And it can turn into an email reading. And this is basically what I do when I provide email readings for people, is I just automatic write. I mean, I go back and I add, other intuitive things and make it readable, legible. But 2-person prompts are a lot of fun to do. So the easiest thing is your partner gets a piece of paper, you have a piece of paper, so I'm going to pretend I'm reading Bob. And Bob is going to write down, my partner needs to know. So for me, I would write down Bob needs to know, and Bob would write down Lauren needs to know. And then we both set a timer and we both go for however long we go for. And then we swap pieces of paper and we let the other person read it. And it's basically just like a little mini reading that you do for each other. Now, this prompt I'm sort of pulling from some of my shamanic courses that I've taken. And if you love doing this, definitely check out some of the shamanic journeying stuff that I've put out there. Because I really feel like if you're into automatic writing, you might very well also be into shamanic journeying. So this next prompt is that you're going somewhere together. And this is actually used both in shamanic journeying, where you journey at the same time and you try to find each other. You play hide and seek, which is incredible because when 2 people do that, they will come back and they'll say, oh, I was here, I was seeing this, I was seeing that. And it's amazing that these 2 people could have picked up on the same stuff. I mean, out of all the possibilities your mind could go through. And so this is kind of the same thing. So you're going to pick a place and you guys are going to travel there together with your automatic writing. So you can pick a place. So I just put the beach. So you want to put my partner and I head to the beach, and then just write out a story. Exchange it when you're done and see if there's any similarities. And if there's not, that doesn't mean that like you're not right or anything. It could be that you guys have information for each other that could be useful. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's some themes or there's some symbols or even like guides that come across that are the same in both prompts. But make sure that the person you're doing this with understands how to automatic write. And if you want to find somebody else to do this with, visit my Facebook page. We have a group of people that love to practice. And so this would be a way to, find somebody, jump in that group, and practice automatic writing with each other. Side note, that exercise can also be used in dreaming. You can go to sleep and set the intention that I want to meet up with my partner in my dreams. And then when you wake up, you can say, oh, this is where I went, or this is what we did. And then you can kind of compare notes later. Now this one, I would be careful who you choose to do this with. So my partner wants to say ... to me. Don't use your analytical mind of like, what would Bob say to me? What would Bob think of me, and what would he say about me and what's going on in my life right now? We want to stay out of that analytical mind, and we want to, again, come back into that flow state And then I love this one because I don't love this one. I made this one up. But I think what would be great about this one is seeing if your partner is like, no, I would not say that at all, or yes, I would totally say that. I just think comparing what each other has to say at the end, I think will lead to some interesting conversations. And I wrote this example out as how you could ask a question wrong. We can help each other by ... Who's we? We could be you and your guide. So you want to really specify who that we is. So my partner and I, Bob and I, can help each other by ... And this prompt is great because you're getting information about maybe it's something the two of you need to explore that you haven't explored in your relationship yet. This is great for even people you haven't met yet. Say you're going into a new job and you're like, I want to make my boss happy or something like that. You can use this prompt, even if the other person is not doing it with you. And really, you guys, with any of these prompts, you can do it for somebody else. Just change the person. Instead of asking about yourself, ask about your partner. So I know this is a ton of prompts. If you're still looking for more, try Googling more automatic prompts. Just know that some of them you might have to sort of change the wording of them to get better answers so that you're asking those good questions. You can also search for tarot spreads because sometimes tarot spreads, they have an interesting question and you can ignore the spread part of it, but the question itself can sometimes spark ideas of new things that you can ask. Remember that I do have a blog post of both spreads and just kind of questions that I absolutely love to ask, and I constantly update that, so you can refer back to that whenever you want. I also have some fun Mad Libs that I created if the automatic writing is just really not working for you, where you can just plug and play single words. So I know I didn't talk too much about analyzing what you get with your writing, but I want to talk about that a little bit more. So when you're all done, you've been in that sort of flow, that automatic writing state where you're just, things are coming to you and you're just going. Maybe you've set a timer, maybe you've just stopped on your own, and now you're looking at your paper and you're like, what do I do with this? Honestly, read it through. You'll be able to pretty well see a lot of messages. Some of it might not be decipherable. Some of it, your handwriting might not be as great, but use a combination of your analytical mind and your intuitive mind to sort of pick apart what's happening here. But usually you can pretty easily tell what's going on. Some things you can notice are your handwriting. Is there a part of your writing where your handwriting really changed? And does that have anything to do with what was going on with your writing? Also, if you did any doodles or drawing, look at those. See if there's any images that you see. You can turn the paper around and look at it from all different angles. You can even look through the paper from the opposite side. And sometimes with drawings, you'll start to see other images or other symbols that you just didn't see before. If you're not a super huge fan of writing, check out my automatic drawing video, because this is basically the same thing, but with drawing, and how you analyze the images is a lot different than kind of when you're looking at just writing. Also, when you're going through and analyzing, make note of what is definitely intuitive or some things that you know are definitely not intuitive. And it helps sometimes to highlight these portions so then you know in the future, okay, that was definitely intuitive. This was me, just not connecting at that moment, and I was trying to come back to the prompt and kind of get back into it. So sometimes highlighting those and making them stand out will at least help you if you're looking at it in the future. Now, if you aren't sure if it's your thoughts or if it's something that's really kind of being channeled through you, check out my other video on how to really tell the difference, because there's just a lot that goes into that. Once you understand what's you and what's not you, it's a lot easier to hone your clairs and really just tell the difference between your writing versus your intuitive writing. If you guys have any more prompts, please leave them in the comments down below. It just helps everyone else come up with more ideas. You can read their prompts, they can read yours. It just helps everyone out. Now, I know how much you guys love automatic writing. If there's something that I didn't describe very well or something else you want me to go into, please let me know in the comments down below. I want to help you guys through this process so you can do it safely and strengthen your psychic ability. If you're new to my channel, check out some of my other videos. I have a lot of fun videos on how to develop your psychic ability and how to use other tools just beyond automatic writing to strengthen that psychic ability. Thank you guys so much for watching. I had a ton of fun coming up with some of these automatic writing prompts, and I can't wait to see if they work out for you. Happy writing, you guys.